You're also waiting to hear from the governor on whether she's going to go along with the state wage board and announce whether she's going to back the change in overtime pay. That's going to require farms, orchards to pay their workers overtime after 40 hours. Right now it's 60. And
right.
You and a number of your colleagues, the lawmakers, have said that this is not good for the farm communities and that this could have a real negative impact on New York State, on the agriculture business.
Yep, that's true. Every legislator that represents farms, regardless of party, has all spoken out against this changing the labor threshold. I understand if you're walking down one of the streets in one of the 5 boroughs and you start talking about overtime at 40 hours, I understand that the collective thought in society is, oh yeah, anything over 40 hours a week is overtime. Well, it isn't if you're a salaried employee, I can tell you that, and most people understand that. But unless you work in a farm community or on a farm or you're associated with the agriculture business, you don't have a firm grasp for just how ebb and flow it is on weather, on the seasons. There's a time where we've got to get the seed in the ground this week no matter what. We have to harvest this crop the next 3 days no matter what. The rules are different and it goes in spurts. But what will happen if we lower this is that you will see employees go to other states. Any of our out-of-state workers that are coming here to work, there's going to be a large percentage of them that are going to say, for me, it's about how much is my total take home. I'm willing to work more hours at straight time if you're going to let me work all the hours I want. And they're not going to have that option in New York. So we will have an even more difficult labor shortage on our farms. The price of our produce is going to go up. So now our apples are going to compete against Washington apples on an even less level playing field. You're going to go in the store and most people are, they're going to shop, how much does this product cost? And the New York one's going to be more expensive. So I think that we're hurting our farms. And again, this isn't just Dan Stec Republican talking. I know that on both sides of the aisle, legislators that represent farms all feel this way. And so I think the governor, though, in her budget, her draft of the budget, she suggested a tax credit to phase this all in over time. So the maneuverings that I've seen so far, I think she's likely headed the way towards signing it. And I think the hope is if she hears from enough legislators and enough farm workers and farm owners to say, look, this is bad for our industry and why, that she's in the position now to be the person to put the kibosh on it. The wage board has made the recommendation, and now it's up to the governor to either allow it or to veto it.
Democrats in Albany have redrawn the political boundaries for the Assembly, for the state Senate, and for congressional districts across New York. Your district is changing. It'll now be Senate District 47. Yep. That doesn't go into effect until the end of this year, the end of 2022.
January 1st next year.
Of 2023.
The new lines, yep. We'll run for election in the new lines, but the actual district lines change on January 1st.
All of Franklin County has been taken out of your district and will be part of a new state Senate district covering Franklin and St. Lawrence counties. Your district grows a little further to the south. You pick up Hamilton County, a little bit of Fulton, some of Saratoga, a little more of Washington, so you pick up more territory to the south. Yep. Are you unhappy to be losing Franklin County?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, any legislator, you build a relationship with your district, you work hard, you start to get to know people, business owners, community volunteers, all your community leaders, your elected officials. You start to you make an investment of yourself, learning the district and their issues. And for me, because I knew I was new in Clinton and Franklin County, this last year made an extra effort to make sure that I was spending a lot of time here to get up to speed. Maybe everyone won't agree, but Warren County, born and raised there, and I've been working there for a long time. I think I got Warren County under control. I don't know everything about Warren County, but the areas that I knew I needed to, brush up on were the new parts of the district. So we made an extra a concerted effort in Clinton and Franklin counties, and the Akwesasne issue with the land claim. That's a unique one that it certainly wasn't anything I saw when I was in my assembly district. And so you start to get a handle on these issues, and then to see them they're taking that away from me. Yeah, it's frustrating. I had people call, I tell you, it makes you feel good when you get a constituent, a relatively new constituent saying, you were doing such a great job. I'm sorry to see you go. And I actually got those calls. I mean, in my line of work, we get a lot of calls. I'm not happy with this. Yeah. I'm not. So, that was nice and flattering, but it is frustrating. And Look, you know, the new lines, if they stand, you know, and you know, assuming that these are the final lines, you know, depending on a court challenge, you know, Franklin County is going to be represented by a very capable senator, no matter who it is, and in addition to that, and I've told everyone in Franklin County this, look, you know, I'm still going to be around, you know, and I'm still a friend. You know, if there's an issue, of course you go through the proper channels. But if, you know, why wouldn't you call me and make sure that I'm aware of this? If I can help, I will. I mean, that's just, you know, it's good service. No one's going to say, sorry, I don't represent you anymore, click.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, so we're prepared for that, but it is too bad.
There are those that think, though, that the northern three counties, Franklin, Clinton, and Essex, should remain together, that it makes sense to have the same representation.
Well, I mean, historically they've been together. You know, I was very surprised if somebody told me, Dan, here's the map, here's the pen, you draw your district. I never in a million years would have cleaved Franklin County out. I think a lot of people view those three counties together. You know, then you've got people that are saying, well, you've got Warren, Washington, Saratoga County. Those three roll off the tongue down my way, the three that are together. But you start, you know, drawing the lines to make sure that you get a certain population.
Right.
And yeah, something's got to give. And, you know, I mean, you get some weird maps that way. I mean, you're never going to draw a perfect map. I don't think any of us were hoping for a perfect map, but I was very surprised to see Franklin County pulled out of this Senate district.
It's primarily the congressional districts that are being challenged in court, not so much the Assembly and Senate districts?
There is a single case in Steuben County that involves both the Senate and congressional maps, but the Assembly maps are not challenged in court.
Okay, all right. Do you and fellow Republicans clearly believe this is a case of the Democrats gerrymandering to try to gain additional seats in Congress primarily, but also in the state Senate to get additional seats for Democrats?
Yep. We had to lose a congressional seat because of the census, because people are fleeing New York due to...
So down to 26 from 27?
Yeah, down to 26. So they had to redraw those lines. And so much is in play at the congressional level on all these redistrictings that are happening in states all over the country.
Such a critical midterm coming up.
So what it appears the Democrats did is they made some super Republican seats, a handful of them, and then they made as many safe Democrat seats as they possibly could. And depending on the math, you know, that on its face, they could have drawn New York into maybe 4 or 5 Republican seats out of the 26. So that has implications in Washington, D.C. as to which party is in the majority in the House of Representatives. In the state Senate, this was the first time in decades that the Democrats had a chance to draw these lines. They didn't like the lines that the Republicans had drawn in the past. And you know, when you say that, again, like the farm overtime issue, well, you know, I know what overtime is, anything over 40 hours, you know, and so I think similarly we talk about redistricting. Well, Republicans, when they were in charge, they got to do whatever they wanted. Now you don't like it because the Democrats are in charge. Well, it's a little more complicated than that, and twofold. Number one, in 2014, the voters passed a constitutional amendment saying that there would be an independent redistricting commission. Now, 2014, the Senate was in charge, held by the Republicans, the Assembly by the Democrats, so you did have divided government, and someone in 2014 said, you know what, we're heading towards a problem here. Why don't we create an independent commission? They did that through the constitutional amendment process, which involves a vote of the public. And the voters said, we want voters picking their politicians, not politicians picking their voters. That's what we voted on in 2014. Last fall, Proposition 1, they tried to do an end run around the Constitution. It was rejected by the voters. So the voters voted in 2014 and 2021 that they wanted an independent commission. The independent commission failed to produce a map, and in the law, if it failed to produce a map, then the legislature gets to draw it. So that's why the legislature ended up drawing these maps and not the independent commission. So that's caveat number one. Caveat number two is, in previous redistrictings, yeah, you had the Senate was controlled by Republicans, but the Assembly was controlled by Democrats. So if one side or the other got too cute with their own map, it could get crushed in the other chamber. So there was a system of checks and balances on those maps. Today, one party rule, a governor and the Assembly and the Senate, all controlled by Democrats, all intent on gaining power. Given the power of drawing the maps, they drew the maps they wanted, and they didn't even talk to Republicans in the state Senate. They drew. They did the same thing to their own maps, and now it's being challenged in court.
Dan Stec, always great to see you. Thank you very
too,
much
Tom.
for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for your time.